Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. The goal of any man should be sovereignty. The goal of any man should be sovereignty. Now, remember, in my last podcast, I talked about building your power. But what are you building it for? Are you building it just to build it? Which, you know what, let's be real, it ain't bad. You know, you can get through life and everything. But you know what? There's an old saying. In fact, somebody might still say it. They said the saying was, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you're among the stars. A man, if you're building your power, you should have a goal. That goal should be sovereignty. What is sovereignty? It means you got control over your life. Control over your life to the greatest extent possible. Now, in the culture we live in, because of the community, no one will ever truly have a 100% control over their life, right? Well, at least over how other things affect their lives. The only thing you really have 100% control over is really your reaction to everything, right? But that still don't mean you necessarily have sovereignty. When I'm saying sovereignty, right, that means when you're moving through life, it really is with authority. It really is you have control, you know, and a basic sovereignty every man should have. Every single man should have this basic sovereignty. He should have his own spot. You know, like the ultimate goal should be like a home that he owns outright. But even if he doesn't, just a place to stay that he has some control over or some leverage over. And then that should be his ultimate goal, no matter where he is, right? He should at least have a vehicle if he needs a vehicle, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you can move the way you want to move. You know, he really should at least at the minimum have a job that he has some control under. You know, that he has some control. He has some leverage at. Now, even better than that is having your own business. In fact, I'm just going to say that. Look, let me be clear. I respect people who got jobs and working on careers and stuff. But this is Rom. Rom, my personal thing is, as many men as possible should have their own business or something like that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. That's just my philosophy. Like I said, I respect you if you don't have it. I respect you as long as you're taking care of your business as best as possible. Plus, I don't know the circumstances. But to me, in Rom's opinion, that's sovereignty. But here, check it out. Maybe for you, the sovereignty is having some control, being in that more established business, or you could be, you know, maybe in some type of service, military service, or you could be a fireman, or, you know, maybe a police officer or something, or even government service or something like that. Even then, that is a level of sovereignty. See, one thing about sovereignty is going to be different for every man. It really is. Now, I did say, you know, at least have some control over where you live or some leverage and some way to get around. That should be basic. And even whether you're doing a job or a business, right, you know, some leverage. Because even with a business, you only have so much leverage. Or so much control, rather. You have plenty of leverage. But you only have so much control because you still got to deal with customers and everything, taxes and stuff like that. But even then, it still should be a situation where it's on you. In fact, I would say this overall for sovereignty, whether you have a job or a business, right? I would say this. Have some control over what you want to do. Have some control, right? You want to have that. That's very key. Like if you want a job or something, it shouldn't be a case where you have to put up with some bullshit on it, right? It should, like if you just going to go from job to job, it should be a situation where you have the ability to do so because it's your will. If you want a job, it's your will, right? Now, if you have a business, it's your will. You shouldn't be in a position where someone can just say, well, you do this, you do that. Basically, you know what? If you don't have control, sovereignty over your own life, you're not living by your will. You're living by someone else's will. Now, even on a job, and this is very important because a lot of people's sovereignty will come from either owning a business or being on a job. Even on a job, you should be in a position where you there on your own accord because you want to be there and everything, and it's according to your will. But as soon as they do something to annoy you, you can be like, I'm out. That's when you want to be, right? Now, remember what I said in a previous podcast about building your power, and one of them was building your knowledge. Every man should build himself to the point where he do have that option. Now, on this channel, I talk about man gets woman. I talked about a man building himself to have options with women, but let's go beyond women for a second. Because anybody who's really followed me and listened to me, they found that getting women is easy. It really is. And that's where I try to get y'all. But now it's time to start going into the rest of your life. The rest of your life. What good is it that you getting a ton of sex, but then when a woman say get out of her house, or she say you got to buy her all this, what kind of sovereignty you got when you're doing things on her terms? Or even if you even dealing with her, right, because nobody else gonna mess with you, that's not sovereignty. You want to have sovereignty. You want to have sovereignty in dealing with women. You want to have sovereignty in where you live. You want to have sovereignty in how you go about your mission in life. And that's the key thing. And that every man should have that goal. Now, look, let's be real. It's tough. It is tough. Even after I had some success in a business, there were periods you went down. Like, if you're an entrepreneur, trust me, it's some ups and downs. The road to success is not a straight line. It's crooked as hell. Anybody who's like been entrepreneurial know that, right? But you know what? You still got to go. You still got to do it. And it might be tough. It could be years, but see, that should be the goal. What did I say earlier? What was that saying? Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you still among the stars. Every man, imagine if we had a whole society where every man was striving to do his best. Everything would look different. Everything. The whole economy would look different. The whole economy, the political situation would look different because politics and the economy are very much intertwined. Right? Shoot. Who you dealing with? The women you dealing with, the friends in your life, the allies in your life, everything will be different if you going in that one direction. And I'm gonna tell you what, and I'm gonna speak for myself now. I'm gonna give a testimony now. I got total control over my life, right? Or as much as I can have living in a society with people. I talk about what I want to talk about on these videos, right? I talk about what I want to talk about. Even when someone say, hey, can you do this? I'll give you a donation. There's been a couple people, I gave them back their money because I said, I don't want to talk about it, right? That's control, I work when I want to work. That's sovereignty. I'm working according to my will, not according to someone else's will. And if anybody really follow me, no, this ain't my only platform. So I built up some options. And you know what that gives you? Having that sovereignty. I'm going to tell you what. You sleep very well at night. Only time I've slept bad in the past few years when I had some spicy food one time for dinner and it was late. Oh my God. That was the only time. But as far as everything else, no. I don't have to worry about purchasing some clock or something. And it's totally according to my will. And see, one thing about that is when it's according to your will, that's when you become a truly superior man. And people who follow my on my more private site know exactly what I'm talking about. But the key is sovereignty. Every single man should be going for it. Even in situations when you have to work for someone else, you should be going through. Like if I ever decided to pick up employees, I'll be telling them. I'm like, okay, I want you to be here until you build your stuff up. And then when you're ready to go, I'll just get somebody else younger. And, I'll let you do your thing. Because every single man, the goal of every single man should be sovereignty, all right? So anyway, that's all I got right now. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.